What is the reality? Does something really come out of nothing? Throughout the entire universe, there was nothing. Then suddenly, there was something that came out of nothing. Nothing became something of the universe. Really? And we're coming to you almost live all the way from our studios right here in Southern California. I'm Yusuf Festus, and you are a very special person to me today. I'm going to be asking you to help me with tomorrow's broadcast. Yeah, I know, right? So here's what I need you to do this, okay? I need you to watch at least 5 minutes of the show, and then give me some comments. If you're watching this on the social media, or if you would like to send me an email, contact@guideus.tv. Yeah, you have to write it down. Contact, CONTACT, at, you know the at sign, Guideus, GUIDEUS, and then put a dot, and then TV. Okay? So that's one way you can contact us, by sending me an email, or if you're watching on social media, then just leave a comment there. Here's what I want you to talk about. I want you to tell me what perspective you want us to discuss in tomorrow's program. All right? Because some of the things we're going to be talking about tonight are the history of Muslims in Africa. Yes, about the eastern coast of Africa in particular, and the coffee trade and the slave trade. Those two particular trading commodities, can I say that? They were trading people like they were products. So those two things were the number one money makers for the people in Africa and other countries at that time. This we're talking about particularly in the late 1600s, 1700s, 1800s, and even today there's something going on. We're going to be talking about that in the show tonight. So what I would like for you to do is pay close attention, and then when you see something, you say, hey, that's what I want you to talk about. Talk about this from the Muslim perspective, or talk about this from the American perspective, or talk about it from this perspective or that perspective. And how does this fit in with what's going on in America and around the world when we're talking about these protests? Black lives do matter. And of course, when people say all lives matter, okay, that means you didn't get the reason behind the protest to start with. Anyway, so this is some of the things that we're going to be talking about today. Now, the other thing I need you to do, if you're watching on social media, if you're watching on the satellite, or if you're watching on our box, you know, the Guideus TV box, everybody that has one knows what I'm talking about. Or if you're watching on the apps on your phone, it's not as easy to do this, because you need to send me an email, contact@guideus.tv. However, if you are watching this on social media, it's real simple. Then you can just plug in and tell me what your response is and what you want us to talk about tomorrow, all right? Then, another thing I need you to do, all right, I got a lot of work for you to do, all right? Another thing I need you to do is pray for us. Just pray and ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, God Almighty, that He will guide us to do our very best for His behalf. Yeah, because this, all that we are doing, we hope that it's for Him. not for us to show off or anything else. All right, that's a real big thing. Of course, sharing this is a good thing for you to do, but we'll talk about that more later. We have a guest waiting in the wings. I want to bring him out right now, and he's all the way in St. Louis, Missouri. Here is Dr. Sultan. Salam alaikum. How you doing?
Walaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu.
How are you doing, Doctor?
Mashallah, doing good. Looking forward to seeing you.
Mashallah.
And learning something from you.
Well, I'm learning from you guys all the time. Yeah. Doctor, have you ever visited East Africa?
I visited Africa, but I don't know what is east or west, but we have gone to South Africa.
All right. South Africa is, of course, in the southern part of Africa, but it is over on the eastern side. There's a lot of Muslims that live there. A lot of Muslims live there.
Right.
So you have been there.
I have been there, yes, one time.
Ah, okay. How long ago were you there?
Oh, about 10 years ago.
Oh, okay. Then you've been there since I was. I've only been there 3 times. And, well, no, I take that back. I was in Mombasa, and I was in Kenya, and about 10 years ago. Yeah. Yep. And also, one more time after that, we were in Dar es Salaam, and we were in Zanzibar. Those areas. And this is why I have a very strong feeling about the Muslims who are there. And I wanted to present something tonight. I don't have my own personal pictures, but I can add those tomorrow night if the people want us to continue talking about it. I have a whole treasure of videos that we did there. And there's a place in Mombasa. Now, have you heard of Mombasa?
Yes.
Mombasa is an island. Let me see if I can show you. Yeah, here it is. Wait a minute. I can't. Let me see if I can put that up. Yeah, here we go. I'm going to put it up right now. This, guys, is Mombasa. And while you're looking at this, let me see if I want to be sure that you can hear my voice while I'm doing this. Yeah, it's on. And Mombasa actually is an island, much like the island of yeah, here we go. There. It's kind of like the island, if you're familiar with Manhattan.
Yes.
Yeah. I want to get this up where you can really see it. There we go. Yeah. Now, this island that you're looking at right now, this island, I visited it. We spent a day out there on this island, and we went around and we saw everybody and we talked to everybody as much as we could. But I did a video there, and now here's your chance, guys. Right now, if you want to see that video tomorrow, you just leave a message and say, I want to see the Mombasa. Spell it Mombasa. Here you go. Look at it. You see it? That's Mombasa. Now, I want you to look straight down on this map. Straight down from the word Mombasa and a little bit to your right. Now, what do you see what it says right there? Can you see it, guys? I'm going to make it real big so that you can see it real big. Watch this. Watch. It says Fort Jesus. Fort Jesus. Yeah. That is the place where I went and took the video, took the cameras, took our team in there, and we really did some amazing stuff there at Fort Jesus. So if anybody wanted to know about that, Doctor, Assalamu alaikum.
Yeah.
I'm back.
Assalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Yeah, I'm really giving them an exciting thing to work with, because along the way, I wanted to let everybody know how important it is for us to know the true history, the real history of what has transpired there. And if anybody would really like to know more about any of this, I'm ready. I am very ready to take that chance to, let me see if I can put up some of the pictures right now. Here you go. This is another one. Take a look at this one. You see that? All right. Now, and then here's another one. And another one. This is Fort Jesus, by the way. This is Fort Jesus. But you wait till you see what we did when we went there. Yeah. Wait till you see what we did with this. This is an island. This is on an island. Aha. Why do they call it Fort Jesus? Oh, that's why I want you to see it. I really want you to see this video. And what has it got to do with Muslims? Yes, 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 yes. This will give you the real history of how the slave trade started and how it's related to the coffee trade. The coffee trade was started by the Muslims about over 1,000 years ago. And it was the #1 commodity traded in the world until oil. Until the oil. And it's still the #2. That's coffee. And where was it grown first? East Africa. And who had the control over the market? Muslims. Oh yeah. And they still have a lot of control over it even now today. The Muslims of East Africa. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Starbucks doesn't make a move until they check with those guys. Trust me on this. And I know it because I've been there, talked to the people. Okay, now let's bring Doctor back in on this and just bring us up to date on some of the things about the virus thing going on. Assalamu alaikum, Doctor.
Wa alaikum assalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Tell us the latest. Is there any new problems or anything related to this the virus?
Well, latest as it was expected, as we are opening up, more and more virus cases are coming up. There were but 22 states where opening up has shot up the infection rate. And again, this is a problem which I don't think is going to go in the near future. We got to be as diligent as we were in the maximum state. Maybe we can get a little bit relaxed, but still the basics remain the same. Wash your hands, social distancing, cleansing your body. You know what? This is a big problem, because there are people who can read lips, and it just so happened that my secretary was in one of the places where this where the mail stuff. I don't want to take the company's name, but over there a deaf a guy was sitting over there who could just read the lips, and these ladies come in with the mask on, and he cannot understand them. They would not take the mask off. This poor old guy almost was crying because he cannot relate to them unless he can read the lips. So masks have some problem for the disadvantaged people, especially who are dependent on reading the lips, you see. So anyway, so we're talking about, so the That's good. Now I can read your lips. Okay. All right. So, so, so the distancing, washing your hands, everything else, cleanliness, and just those simple things can keep us very much safe from this monstrous illness. I'll call it a monstrous illness because it just sees no race, no color, no nothing, and no social or economical difference, except some people economically disadvantaged. It's affecting in the United States, it's affecting more because of their poor health status. So the point in here is we got to keep our common sense at hand. Yes, socialize, but from a distance, and I think we'll be okay.
All right. Well, what if we do the niqab or the mask like the niqab that we see in Maghreb? Have you seen that?
Yeah, you're talking about the niqab, like women wear the niqab, or you're talking about the...
but in Maghreb, have you seen it in Morocco?
No, I went to Morocco, but I don't recall. I mean, women wear that, or the dacoits, they wear them. Other than that, but anyway, it has a protective effect. It is definitely protective, and I'm all for it. And please, either use disposable or at least once a day, wash them if you're using a reusable mask, like cloth masks. I wash mine every day. As a matter of fact, I got a few, so that I don't have to wash all of them every day one. So in a few days, I just wash them and dry them. So when I'm ready, I'm ready to use the mask. So I always use masks.
Yeah, your voice is cutting out again. Your phone is cutting out again, doctor. I'm sorry. Yeah.
And then when it does...
Yeah, hold on, doctor.
I don't know what to do.
Yeah, just hold on. Just restart your phone. Just restart your phone, and I think it'll be okay. All right? I was trying to talk to the doctor about this subject of the niqab that they use in Morocco, and I was looking online so I could show you guys one, and I don't see it. But I used to see a bunch of them online, but I guess they took them off, or people don't care about it. And anytime you put face cover in Google right now, they show you all the stuff for, you know what I'm saying, for the virus instead of... Let me think about another way to say this. Let me see what will come up. Yeah, what they used to do, what the women used to do, they would have this metal looking thing over here, but you could still see her lips. And that's what I was trying to focus on with Dr. Sultan. Because if you could... doctor, okay, you know what I'm talking about?
Yes, now I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, you could see her nose is covered, and her chin is covered, but you could see her mouth.
That would not be acceptable in coronavirus case. It's acceptable socially to be able to communicate and follow the rules and regulations of hijab. Allah Ta'ala commands for that. But from the medical point of view, infectious point of view, it is spread through nasal and as well as mouth. As a matter of fact, one of the new tests to do, see what happens is that this virus gets into our salivary glands and get excreted into the mouth. So another test instead of nasopharyngeal test is the saliva test to see this virus in the saliva. So from my perspective, the mouth should be open. So what I was talking about was that I always see my patient with the mask on. Patients have mask on. There's only one exception, and that is some people say I can't breathe, and I respect that. So I say, okay, please take the mask off. I want you to continue to breathe. And it is difficult for some people to feel comfortable and breathe. As a matter of fact, we shall have to see what the long-term effect of these masks are. But the studies show that people by profession, like surgeons, who are in the operating room all the time and wearing masks, and anesthesiologists and stuff like that, it truly creates a low oxygen state in the body called hypoxia. And hypoxia is a major cause for developing a lot of so this will be interesting to see use a mask on a communal basis. The whole country uses it. What will be the ill effects we will see from hypoxia in some people?
Okay. Let me see if I can put that up so folks can take a look at it. And here we go. Yes. Yeah. All right, guys. Here, what I'm going to try to do is show you the face cover. That this is the only one I could find, but I'll try to talk you through it. Watch. This particular face cover is similar to the ones that I've seen over there, and they're covering like here, but you can see their lips. So that I don't know if that's so you could read her lips or not, but that's how they used to cover their faces, and not so much anymore. But the first time I was over there many years ago, I still saw some of the older women wearing it like that. Now you can see. And I was just going to ask Dr. Dr. Sultan, what do you think if we try to manipulate? Let's see if I can do it like that. How about this?
Well, your upper lip is hidden. Only the bottom lip is moving. You know, and I think you can do it. I guess it can be done. It'll be a study project. You see, interesting study project.
Yeah. Alhamdulillah, 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 alhamdulillah. Well, anyway, you know, one of the things that we wanted to talk about tonight, if we could, is an idea about this virus is spreading, and we asked about it last night. Is it spiking because the people got together, or is that a coincidence also? That how relevant is it to people really getting serious? Because some people will get this virus. I've been told they get the virus and they get over it in a short period of time, and they're all right. And so I want to know, number one, I guess, yeah, I got a bunch of questions.
Well, 80% of people are asymptomatic. They get the infection, get over, they don't know. The majority of them, if they get sick, they are not that sick. A small minority becomes very, very, very sick, whom require everything. Hospitalization, ventilators, and everything else the modern medicine has to offer. But majority of people, they get well. But that small minority, when you apply to 350 million people, even if it is 0.2%, it comes close to a few million people. So that's the problem with that, because when you take there's a interesting mathematical formula. See, statistics you can manipulate the way you want. You say the incidence of per million people, and this is one or two. I'm sorry, about 5 people per million. But when you take the incidence into vulnerable people, the incidence is much higher. Or when you see the mortality in people per million is altogether a smaller number as compared with mortality, where the patient has been diagnosed with coronavirus, and then the death rate is much higher. So saying the 5 per million doesn't sound that terrible, but the thing is, when the whole number is big, there's a very interesting, it fascinates me, one very simple, interesting mathematical formula, and that is, when you put enough number of small numbers together, it will exceed any large number. Very simple, simple fact. So that's why we have to see what's the total overall impact is how many number of people are being made sick from this virus. And right now, I think the 300,000 people have been affected by this virus so far in the United States.
All righty. The thing that I wanted to really ask you is that, like, suppose somebody gets this thing, and the way you said it, it sounded like they could get it and not even know they had it. Is that true?
Exactly. That's true.
How many? How many people? Could you give us an estimate of how many people might be walking around and they've got this thing and they're passing it on to others? A lot of people, or a few, or?
I don't know, because we are still studying and we are still looking at it. Is it safe to? I'm guessing, okay, but is it safe to estimate that more people are walking around that have it with them, but they've not shown the signs, than there are people that are going to the hospital or dying? Oh, exactly. There's a phenomenal difference between a number of people carrying the virus and asymptomatic versus a small portion who is getting so sick that they require the most intensive care that is available.
All right. So that kind of leads up to the next thing I wanted to ask you. So if somebody has been exposed to this thing and they get a little bit sick, and then they say, oh, well, I just must have had some other kind of flu because it didn't really bother me that much. Could it be that they had this or have it with them if their immune system is strong enough to fight it off?
Exactly. But the precaution is that they should have 2 weeks of quarantine, and then after that the infection clears up. Let's say, for example, yesterday, yesterday I felt a little fluid, a little feverish, and today I'm feeling much better. I may say, well, it could be some one of those hundreds of viruses, and they go all around. And it is because of the incidence of coronavirus, it'll be prudent for me to go to a place and be tested to see if I have or if I don't. If I have, and then obviously I must quarantine myself. If I don't have it, well, then that's just okay. You just go on the normal way of life.
Okay.
Everyone has to take responsibility of themselves and other people, so that we protect ourselves and protect other people. There's the whole game.
Okay. All right. Now another question that again related to the same thing. Suppose somebody has this virus. They know that person had the virus, but now all of a sudden he said, "I'm better, so good to go." Can that person? Can that person ever get that virus again?
This is, we do not know yet, because it is so new. But again, if you know for sure you had it, you have 2 weeks of quarantine. That's number one. And number two, we do not know, and we can do the antibody test and say, yeah, you got the antibodies. But still, it is too early for us to say that this antibody will protect you from another coronavirus infection, or for how long it will protect you. And or really, the antibodies do not mean that much. But in the common sense approach, like other infections, if you have antibodies, then you're reasonably protected. But since corona is such a new thing, that we don't have enough data to say, yeah, it behaves just like any other sickness. For example, you got a flu this season, then you are much less likely to get the same viral flu again. There's so many other viruses go around, so you can get other viruses, but flu you're less likely to get. So we don't know yet.
Okay, so that answers most of my questions right there from what you're talking about. Now tell us about the kind of face cover that's approved by the doctors. What is it? How do I know it? What's the description of it?
Okay, well, first of all, any facial cover is better than no facial cover. That's point number one. And number two, the real mask they're talking about, N95. They can say you can wash it and stuff like that. From my personal point of view, since that's disposable, either I'm going to use it one time, which costs like $5, so I can't spend $5 every day, so that becomes very expensive. So for the solution, they said you can use it again and again. That's okay. But again, you have to finally get rid of that. I don't know washing and stuff like how good that is. So from my personal point of view, economical point of view, to have
you're breaking up again.
Mask, wash it every day.
I'm sorry, you were breaking up again.
Okay, I'm sorry. So what I was saying was that from practical point of view, those disposable masks are not a practical solution for the masses. So we see there's two things. One is called the public policy, and one is called the private policy. In public policy, yes, we need to have cloth masks we can wash and use again and again. Private policy, yes, if you want to have maximum protection, you get those N95 masks, and may not use it more than a few times. It's recommended only one time use, but you may use it a few times and then get another one. But that can get expensive. And at one point, availability was a big issue, and still PPE is a big issue for the medical profession, because many people in the medical field are not getting all the personal protective equipment they need.
Well, you said, I think what you were talking about is that any kind of a mask, like let's put this one back up here, like any kind of a mask is better than nothing. Is that right? Doctor, you're still with us? Hello? Okay, we lost him again.
No, that's correct.
I could not hear what, just because the voice was splitting.
Yeah, I'm so sorry. I apologize for the way I'm not operating this equipment right. We have another guest coming in, but we're going to take the short break. We'll be right back right after this. I didn't realize how much we got involved here, and let's take this break. We'll be right back right after this.
Inshallah.
Throughout the entire universe, there was nothing. Then suddenly, there was something that came out of nothing. Nothing became something. And that is a very good question, isn't it? How could all the universe create itself out of nothing? And our other programs, we've talked about this, and here's something that you can make a note of. Those of you who have been with us and watching us right along, you know that I've asked everybody in the first part of the program to do something for me. I ask you to pay close attention, and then you could write to me at my email, contact, C-O-N-T-A-C-T, contact at guideus.tv, contact at guideus.tv.com. There's no .com, it's a .tv. All right. Or if you're watching us anywhere on the social media, you can just leave us a note. But tell me what you would like us to focus on from what perspective. In tomorrow's program, we're going to be talking about the slave trade in the Muslim world and how it spilled out all over the world since the last 400 years or more, and how it relates to the coffee trade and even the oil trade that we know about today. This is one perspective. The Muslim perspective, obviously, because it was the Eastern and what's called the Horn of Africa, and that area, all there down through South Africa and all the way up to Ethiopia, and even over in Ghana and the Ivory Coast. These very important details, and I have been there, and these parts of Africa and recorded programs. So if you want us to do that kind of a program tomorrow, all you got to do is just tell us. Contact at guideus.tv. Also leave some messages for those of you who are watching us on social media. This will really help us, but particularly if you're watching us on satellite. If you're watching us on satellite, please make some effort to write to me and contact at guideus.tv and tell us you're watching on satellite. Because if we don't see any response at all from satellite, this means what? We don't need it. And that's something that we all need to focus on. Let's introduce our guest. Doctor is with us right now, very patiently waiting, and let's bring him out right now. Or bring him on. Don't have to bring him out. You can just bring him on. Here's Dr. Adil in Tampa, Florida. Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. The Energizer Bunny. That's it. That's it. Just keep on going. Alhamdulillah. We're talking about the heart series, and subhanAllah, everybody, it will be at loss except those who come to Allah, return to Allah with sound heart, free of heart disease. We're not talking about hardening of the arteries, but we're talking about a whole bunch of other diseases that prevent someone from entering paradise. The Quran revealed on the heart, and when it touches the heart, then the eyes will fall in tears, they'll tremble, and the skin will go into almost will have goosebumps everywhere. So subhanAllah, the master organ of the entire body is the heart. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said in the body there's a piece of flesh in the mudghah. إذا صلحت صلح الجسد كله. If it's good, it's functioning well. If it's sound heart, then the entire body will function well and will be no problem. And we see this every day in and out when the heart fails. People have congestive heart failure, for instance, because of pumping failure of the heart to pump the oxygen and nutrients into the different parts of the body organs. Then we know the brain suffers, the lung suffers, kidney suffers, and the liver suffers, all the vital organ, and you have multi-system organ failure. SubhanAllah, also your heart, must trust the Quran. So it has to be that almost connectivity with the current that is connected between you and Allah through His Word, through His book, through the Quran and His book. And the most important point with the Hadith about consult your heart. You do a consultation about righteousness. Am I doing the right thing? Am I doing wrong stuff? Am I, heading in the right direction? What? You see, when Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, consult your heart. Righteousness is about what the soul feels tranquil and the heart feels tranquil. And that will be basically, the right thing. The wrongdoing is that when the soul moves back and forth in agony and in distress, and it comes back in the chest, and you feel may people feel tightness in the chest, because that can comes over and over again, and that the option will be against that favor. And sometimes there are Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the Quran, في قلوبهم مرض فزادهم الله مرضا. Sometimes they have disease. Disease is not accepting Islam, not agreeing to Allah's orders and not fulfilling. So what happened? Allah will give you more disease, and then they'll have the ultimate, torment and torture. So the good news is that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, if somebody seeks the pleasure of Allah, then there will be a cleanser for all those diseases of desires and doubts, and then you'll end up turning and transforming into a totally different state of mind and a state of heart, the thinking heart, and how you'll have a kind of self accountability, and how you could see how could I improve myself, how you could have the power to have self assessment and self correction, and you have this consciousness through the connection with Allah. Then we'll get the human heart that will translate into action that will get you closer to Allah. Actually, I had honor to work with a beloved brother, African American brother. He passed away, Imam Qasim, and he knew that I was a heart doctor, and he had this series on the connection of the Quran, and specifically when it comes to the heart. So this was a nice thing, and this is an honor for his memory. He passed away about a year ago, and I thought to recognize him and honor him. He was really a wonderful, brother, African American brother, and came to Islam, and really, really wanted to put everything into action. And whether would it be more profound message rather than getting the heart put in action. So that's a little preload into the series of the heart, and how we can apply this in our life to make a better world. Inshallah.
MashaAllah.
Yeah.
Well, tell us more.
Allah, structurally, if somebody would go through the anatomy of the heart, very simple. 4 chambers, upper 2 chambers, small, bigger 2 chambers, large. One, the left will be the atrium and ventricle. The right will be atrium, the upper, and ventricle. I'm sure Dr. Sultan knows all about it. It's very simple for the viewers who are not have the medical background. But it basically, the left side, or the main pumping, the ventricle, that's the main pumping chamber of the heart. And when it fails, usually the left heart is responsible for the function that delivers the pumps blood through the aorta, which is the largest blood vessel in the body, and that supplies the brain, the lung, the kidney, the gut, and the liver, and the legs, and so on. And subhanAllah, Allah said there is a connection. If you look into the right side, when somebody gets angry or talks loud or have excited in the speech, there is a little vein that's engorged in the neck on the right side of the heart. That's habl al-warid. That's the internal jugular vein. And that's directly connected to the upper chamber of the heart. It's called the atrium. So it's connected to the right atrium. And we use it a lot, actually, when we put a central line, habl al-warid. Allah is closer to us than our own habl al-warid, than our own internal jugular vein. Could that be how more assuring that could be for people to get rid of their panic and get rid of their distress and get their anxiety? If we know that Allah Almighty, the Creator, the merciful, the beneficial, the 99 names of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that the most beautiful names of Allah that we all go through in our daily life, He's right there, closer to us than our own neck, that's connected to the heart. So if that message known by the world, that will be a very common effect. Allah knows what's going on. Allah is in full control of what's going on. We just do our part. And When we remember God, it will give us tranquility. Allah is giving that question. Of course, a rhetorical answer. Yes, yes, absolutely strong yes. Wouldn't the heart be quietened and tranquil with the remembrance of Allah? Of course, it is yes. So if somebody goes into panic attack or an anxiety for whatever reason, we're all humans, and everybody could do it, And what is the remedy? Just remember Allah, the dhikr of Allah subhanallah, alhamdulillah, wa la ilaha illallah, wallahu akbar, la hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. Do a lot of istighfar. Do a lot of, asking Allah to ask for forgiveness. These things are joys and treasures and unmatched anywhere. You want to have a tree with your name in Jannah implanted, a palm tree, say Subhanallah. And if you say Subhanallah 100 times, you know what? You just had 100 trees with your palm trees with your name in paradise. And it keeps the on and on. And the whole message is that we're going to go through that. If we have that connection with Allah through the heart, then that would be a good remedy to help us navigate through our daily, tests and tribulations, which Allah put to see who has a passing score and who doesn't. It's not mentioned. It is not meant to torture us, or the Quran. طه ما أنزلنا عليك القرآن تشقى. في Surah Taha, we did not send the Quran for you to have trouble, to suffer. It is meant to give you ease and prosperity and happiness in life.
MashaAllah.
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
wait a minute. This tree with my name on it, where do we plant this tree here?
Allah will have it.
Who's going to take care of this tree?
You know what? So with your work, you have tons of trees.
Yeah. Speaking of work, guess what? We ran out of work right now because we are out of time. And while you were talking, I found some on the internet. I found some pictures of the hearts so that people could see when you were talking about the right side, the left side, and all that. And I tried to put it up there while the people were watching. But tomorrow's program, guys, listen up. Tomorrow's show is very dependent on you. Because if you will just leave comments, if you're on social media, just leave me some comments. Don't expect me to answer everybody. I will try to like each one of them, and I do that every night. But for sure, I will read them. And if you're telling us about the program tomorrow, we can elaborate more about the heart and how this is the organ itself, and then the heart, which is the spirit. The very spirit of Islam is our hearts. If you would like more about that, tell us. If you would like me to put up the information about the slave trade and how because today everybody's embroiled in this whole business of protesting. What is legitimate and what is not? What is real and what is fake? And if you want to know from the Muslim perspective, because 20% or more of all of the slaves brought to America during this period of slavery were Muslims. And if you're African American and you're saying, "Oh, I'm American, I'm African American," maybe if you saw Roots, maybe you know already what I'm talking about. But maybe you can trace back and find. And, well, I was, many times I've been to Africa, okay? Many times. So I encourage you to check it out tomorrow. And let's tell everybody about that, okay? And now I'm going to go back to Dr. Adil. Dr. Adil, the programs that we were talking about today, we are asking everybody to leave messages for us and tell us, if what they like and what they want us to present. And so I'm going to be open the door to criticism for me. Tell me if you say, "Oh man, I don't want you to wear that old costume like that," or maybe that you don't like this headpiece, or maybe you want me to wear this one. Whatever you guys say, I'm going to pay close attention to it because this is your show. And they're telling me we got to go off the air. Doctor, Assalamu alaikum rahmatullah.
Thank you so much.
And stay guided
Guide
with
us, TV.
I love the way they say that.
Here are some ways to get Guide Us TV. Via satellite on Galaxy 19 FTA. At this satellite frequency, transponder rate 5, frequency 11836 MHz, polarity vertical, symbol rate 20770, FEC 3/4, channel ID, Guide US TV. You can also